during last week's rioting in downtown Providence. 65 people were arrested after rioters torched a police car, broke into the Providence Place Mall, and spread the destruction to city property and downtown businesses. This all followed what was originally an apparent police brutality protest. Governor Gina Raimondo, who called the riots an attack on the city last week, said on Monday that arrests will continue to be made as the FBI works with state police, the state attorney general's office, and others. In related news, the Providence Police Department says an unidentified officer has been placed on paid leave as officials investigate the use of a less lethal device that apparently sent someone to the hospital during the police response to the riots. The state of Rhode Island is working to test more people who are without symptoms for the novel coronavirus in an effort to better track the disease. People in congregate care settings, first responders, close contact personal care workers, and child care employees can get tested for free at a National Guard site as part of the new early warning system. Any Rhode Islander who attended a protest or demonstration this week, even if they do not have any symptoms, is also being encouraged to get tested. To schedule one, you can call this telephone number, 222-8022. In Rhode Island, 222-8022. Providence Public Schools is closing an experimental high school as part of a larger reorganization effort. Superintendent Harrison Peters said Friday the closure affects Evolutions High School, which is part of Mount Pleasant High School, while another similar program called 360 will stay open. The school district is also adding secondary superintendents who will focus on elementary schools and middle and high schools and cutting 30 staff members, mostly in the central office. One of the secondary principal superintendents comes from Hillsborough Country Public School in Florida, which is where Peters comes from. An 18-year-old man from Providence faces federal charges, including sexual exploitation of a child for allegedly online misconduct involving a 10-year-old girl from Utah. The U.S. Justice Department alleges that Akinola Akinlapa told the girl a virus had taken her personal information and that she needed to undress in front of a camera to keep the info from being posted publicly. The DOJ says the girl complied, but then informed her mother of the whole thing, good girl, when Akinlapa instructed her to perform sexually explicit acts. Akinlapa, who was arrested last Wednesday, is alleged to have communicated with over a dozen other young girls in a similar way. All charges have been dismissed in the case of an owner and employees of the East Bay business being accused of plotting to obtain explicit images of female customers and then sharing them.
Good morning and welcome to Coffee Ann, the longest-running panel discussion show in American radio. To make a comment or ask a question to the panel, call 401-766-1240 or email at joe@onesocketradio.com. And now let's join the Coffee Ann panel on ON 1240, WOON One Socket Radio.
All right, it's Coffee Ann on ON AM and FM, 1240 AM, 99.5 FM on Wednesday morning. It's June 10th. My name is Joe Callahan, and this is the Coffee Ann program and a full Coffee Ann panel today, all in studio. First time it's been like this in months. So hello to Tim Draper from Navigant Credit Union. Hi, Tim.
Good morning, Joe. Good morning, everybody. Great to be back.
Nice to have you here. John Ward is here. Hello, John.
Bonjour, mes amis.
How are you today?
Wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing fine, thanks. Tim's fine.
I said Joe.
Oh,
Tim.
okay.
And then I was about to
And this is Natalie.
Natalie.
Natalie Mack from the St. Antoine community is filling in for Melissa this week. Hello, and how are you?
I'm great, thank you. It's good to be here.
Nice to be here. We'll see how you feel at the end of the hour.
We'll see.
So before we jump into everything, we need to get a first message from the St. Antoine community. So, Melissa, right away, first mistake right off the bat. Natalie, you're up. Go right ahead.
Okay. St. Antoine community is located in North Smithfield at the corner of 400 Mendon Road and 10 Rhodes Avenue. On campus, we have 2 buildings with 4 levels of care: assisted living, rehabilitative services, secured memory care, and long-term skilled nursing support. The first building on campus is the Villa at St. Antoine, located at 400 Mendon Road. It's our 76-apartment assisted living facility. The Villa offers traditional assisted living apartments in 3 styles: studio, 1-bedroom, and 2-bedroom, as well as an 8-resident memory care unit. The second building is St. Antoine Residence, located at 10 Rhodes Avenue, and it is our 260-bed skilled long-term and short-term rehabilitative facility. Inside, we showcase our state-of-the-art Easy Street Rehab Center, our secured memory care unit, and our private hospice suite. St. Antoine community feels like home and is welcoming to all. So if you have never been to visit us, I encourage you to take a ride up north and tour our beautiful campus. It's gorgeous this time of year. You can call 767-3500, ask for Melissa Smith, the Community Marketing Director, and she would be happy to show you around. Thank you.
Fantastic. Nicely done. How would you
Nicely
know?
done. Well
Pretty good, huh?
Well
all right.
done.
All right.
Melissa is in trouble.
Yes, she is. All right.
Never.
The first question we wanted to throw it over to John before we jump into everything else, because it leads into everything else. John, are you running for re-election on the Woonsocket City Council this fall?
Yes.
Okay.
There you go.
There.
Is that a scoop?
Okay.
Okay, I
no,
can go
I don't
now.
think it's a scoop, but we just wanted to make it official because on the
Yes.
front page of the call, you've got challengers now coming after
know, I should-
not
you know,
specifically your seat, but coming after the council.
I should have written a press release and accused people of things that aren't true and done all of the things that get done when somebody's trying to challenge, but...
He's being facetious,
sorry.
folks. If you look at the front page of the call,
Dripping in sarcasm. Well, yeah, I mean, the headline reads, Kitteson Council candidate say city faces tide of fascism.
congratulations.
We had a successful Black Lives Matter protest
Yes.
that marched down Main Street from Market Square to the police station and back. And when they got to the police station, they had a very nice meeting with the chief right out in front of the police station, and they shared common goals.
Okay.
And so I'm not quite sure what part of that represents our rising tide of fascism in the city. But on that note, because I did, and it's not to beat people to the punch, but I tend to read a lot of articles. And so yesterday I ran across one because everybody's talking about defunding police departments around
I was
the
going to
country.
bring that up at a later time.
Well, let's just go there.
Well, I'll bring it
because
up now.
there it is.
Dive right in.
Yeah, that's right.
I got to get to it because I printed so much stuff.
I don't think I've ever seen him print so much. He clicked half a
Well,
tree on
as
that
it turns out, I bumped into an article from CNN. See, I do read from both sides of the aisle.
Okay.
But it was an article from CNN or a story. Excuse me. I got to stop swallowing seeds. No, I'm kidding. And basically it. See that? I pulled up the wrong letter. Basically, it was an article about Camden, New Jersey, because apparently about 8 years ago, in their case, their police department was just riddled with corruption.
Okay.
A bad police department with a bunch of people doing bad things. And so they basically disbanded their police department.
Okay.
And they rebuilt it. And they rebuilt it based on different themes, different strategies, different groups. And many people were rehired who were good policemen. But they changed their strategies in relation to many of the things that are being discussed today. Related to things like, police officers with guns responding to people with mental illness conditions, where sometimes you have to have, it's a little more nuanced than just simply barging in and taking control of somebody. A whole variety of topics that have come up where when they talk about defunding police departments, some of the more radical elements are really talking about simply wiping them out, but the rational people...
Like Minneapolis.
Like Minneapolis. The more rational people around the country are actually referring to a re-examination of how we conduct police business, especially in light of racial issues, in light of mental health issues, and how to deal with other issues where domestic violence issues when they're going into a home. Often people get shot, Is it necessary? Well, yeah, sometimes because they're holding a gun, they're about to shoot somebody, but many times it's not. So things happen that shouldn't happen, and so I just saw this article, and I saw some of the things mentioned in Camden, and I simply sent it off to the police chief or the public safety director and the members of the council, and I said, I'm not a police officer, I'm not a police specialist, but when I see an idea, I share it. Mm-hmm. So I shared it with the police department and the public safety director and the council about not wanting to accuse us of turning into fascists and abusing city residents, because I don't think our police department is corrupt and institutionally abusive to people. It may, in some cases, react badly when they're uncomfortable in a situation or the police officer has no experience with the kind of issue that they're addressing. But it's the kind of thing you can train through. It's the kind of thing you can set policy on. It's the kind of thing you can discuss with minority communities, with mental health communities, and you can develop policies and procedures and do training to address those matters. So I sent it along, and I just said, please, look into Camden, look at the things we do, look at the things they do, see if they're working, and see if there's something you can do to improve our department. Now, that's not going to get me a headline on the front page of the Call.
No,
it's not.
No, it's dull.
And I'm probably not going to issue a press release about it.
No,
because that's not my nature.
Okay.
About look what I've done. Let's look at my shiny badge. Let me go give myself a trophy and hold it up, because that's not the way I do business.
All right.
But the fact is, there will be a time during this campaign, I can assure you, that I will be accused of being a part of the old guard.
You already have.
That does not support affordable housing, does not support education. Of course, anybody that knows me knows I've been fighting about education funding since 1995. And we've actually won victories and it's gotten better. But it's not where it should be. So I still fight. They don't even acknowledge that other people do the things they're talking about.
No, it's too specific, John. But you'll just be grouped in with the old guard.
I'll just be grouped in with the old guard that's too old and doesn't recognize issues.
And you don't get it.
And doesn't have a sense of how tragic life is in the community. And so... we do what we can do, and yes, I'm running.
Okay.
And I would like to spend another 2 years in self-abuse and getting beat up and called names by those who are so young to the game that they're probably saying some of the same things I was thinking when I was 25 to 30 years old, saying, this system sucks.
Okay.
But... that's how things work.
We got 4 pictures on the front page of the Call of people. Do you know any of them besides Alex?
I do not.
Okay.
I know a couple of them because they appeared at the
Good
and Welfare,
Okay.
one of the council meetings when Alex was proposing certain resolutions, and they showed up to speak, having to do with.
Is this the D on Track?
Yes,
Okay.
they showed up for the D on Track thing
to rename it. Okay.
to talk about the awful thing we were doing. And then, of course, this article later refers to, and his picture's not on the front page, but Garrett Mancieri's also announced that he's going to run for
But he's not
council.
part of the group of 4.
No, but he's later referenced in the article.
As running.
So I don't want to leave him out. Because, you know what, I got to commend Garrett. I didn't particularly agree with the way he sort of latched onto the mayor the first time he ran and pretty much seemed like he was, some would characterize it as doing what he was told, but he was a very loyal ally. And then he made the classical political mistake. He opposed her on something, and so he lost all of her support.
Yeah. And
he didn't have support of the people who were not supporting her anyway, because he was always on her side. So he lost his entire base of support. He didn't shy away from it, get upset, and walk away. He stayed completely committed to the community, stayed involved in the community, has kept working for the community in all the years he's been out of office, and I commend him for doing it, and I applaud his efforts. And so he's reframed it, and he's bringing it back as an argument for the public and the voters to decide. And so, he's offering himself up for his candidacy, and I congratulate him for making the effort and trying. I know somebody who lost an election and came back and managed to get reelected.
Would that be you?
That would be me.
That's right. Okay. You following all this, Natalie?
Mostly.
Okay.
I'm new to the Rhode Island area, so I'm still learning all about
Where are you from?
Where are you?
Originally from Seattle.
Seattle.
But moved here with my family from New York.
Wow, okay.
We got out just in time
you're from
before the
Seattle.
craziness has hit.
If I may ask, what part of New York? That's a big state.
Well, we lived in Queens in the beautiful Forest Hills.
Oh my goodness.
City.
It's a lovely neighborhood. But of course,
you
we
were
worked in
urban.
Manhattan. Did the commute, did the grind.
Okay. Are you a Woonsocket resident now?
Warwick.
Warwick, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Warwick.
That's a little
They're going to have a
south of there.
mayoral battle going.
Yes, they are.
coming up,
Someone
yeah.
just announced that they were running.
That's
for
turned
mayor
into
down
an interesting political city ever since the kingdom of Avedisian has dissolved.
Kingdom of Scott.
there. Do you have kids?
I have one daughter. She's 10 months old.
Oh,
She's
okay,
returning to daycare today.
She's not. So she's not in the Warwick school system, which has its own issues.
Not yet.
Okay.
We'll see what happens when we get there.
That's right. A little bit of time.
Actually, after this year's budget is passed by the General Assembly, all school system will have their troubles.
Okay. Well, there you go. Just like in Massachusetts.
Pretty much.
Did Rhode Island come out with their list of what has to happen in order for schools to reopen? Because Massachusetts
They didn't, but if they do what Massachusetts did...
Have you read what Massachusetts
I am
wants to do?
scared to death.
I'm in Massachusetts, and I'm already scared.
There'll be
to
in double
death.
sessions to make that class size work.
Yeah.
They didn't talk
Because
about
they
time.
don't have enough classrooms.
I know they don't. And my theory is they came out with this proposal that's so outrageous
It's draconian.
that we have to change it.
It's to scare people.
Yeah.
It is that we have to go into it and change it. I don't know if you heard it.
No, what I think they're going to do
Natalie.
is that if this actually continues, they will continue the distance learning with a attendance blend.
They might do that.
Some students will still be at home while others will be in the classroom, and they'll be swapping out.
They talk about that half go 1 week, the other half learns at home, and then we switch. And you keep going every other week.
Can you imagine the busing contracts? Oh my God!
Yes, it's that they want 10 kids to a classroom.
10?
That's it. I said there's not enough room. right off the bat, there's not enough room.
Yeah.
Masks on the kids and the teachers all day. I said, now you can explain that to the high school and the middle school, and they'll understand it. They're not going to like it, but they'll understand it. I don't know how you tell the second graders keep a mask on all day.
There are people with medical conditions that putting a mask on them all day will put them in the hospital.
Yeah, yeah. Even the
not-
teachers.
I don't think it's actually a safe way to conduct your life with a mask on all the time. You do it when you're in a place where you need to wear it. You do it when
And
you're
then stop.
Yeah, and then you just take it off.
Well, that's what the Massachusetts plan is right now. I think it came out this early just so that we can work on it all summer to get it to be something more manageable this coming fall. So we'll see what happens. See what happens there. Okay, more is coming up, but Natalie, it's time for your second message, please, from the villa at the St. Antoine Communities.
So exciting. So just to introduce myself again, I'm Natalie Mack, the Director of Development at St. Antoine Community. My role includes grant writing, fundraising, and developing donor relationships. Today I'm excited to share that on August 17th, St. Antoine Community will be hosting our 21st annual golf tournament at the beautiful Kirkbride Country Club. At a time when many events are being canceled, we felt it was especially important to hold the event and celebrate the many years of partnership with our community. We have made modifications, of course, this year to accommodate the COVID-19 regulations, but some other changes as well, including a reduced foursome cost. The safety and well-being of everyone involved is, of course, the utmost priority. We're still finalizing some of the details, more to come soon, but if you want to learn more, please feel free to contact me at 206-353-7543 or nmac, M-A-C-K, at santantoine.net. And of course, for any upcoming information for events, or news about what's happening in our community, you can follow us on Facebook, go to our website, www.santantoine.net, or sign up for a newsletter by contacting Melissa Smith at 767-2574.
Very good, Natalie. And more of the Coffee and program is coming your way. We have a message to get to that's been sent in by email, and we will when we come back after these messages.
Here's a message from Krakow Deli Bakery Smokehouse on Social Street in Woonsocket. They want you to know they are open for takeout. Tuesday through Friday, senior hours from 8:30 in the morning till 10 a.m. 10 to 6 for everybody. Saturday hours are 8 to 4. Krakow Deli Bakery Smokehouse, Social Street, Woonsocket.
Their website is kocheye.com, where you'll see a comprehensive view of all their services and specialties, including cataract surgery, macular degeneration, glaucoma therapy, dry eye disease, and eye problems related to diabetes and LASIK surgery. At Koch Eye Associates, the health and well-being of their patients always comes first, and each patient is treated with respect, courtesy, and dignity. Koch Eye Associates, headed by Dr. Paul Koch, with offices in Woonsocket, Warwick, Johnston, Providence, and North Kingstown. Woonsocket number 769-2511. Koch Eye Associates. Main number 378-4800.
The Coffee and Panel is enjoying coffee from Down East Coffee in Pawtucket. They're a 62-year-old family business that roasts all its coffee right here in Rhode Island. Founded originally as Excellent Coffee Company, they provide great coffee to food service establishments throughout New England.
ON, AM, and FM.
Nice. All right, Coffee Ann here on ON, AM, and FM. This is Joe Callahan here with Tim Draper, John Ward, Natalie Mack is with us, too, as well. Now, as mentioned, we're going to get to an email, and that's been sent in to me, joe@onsockеtradio.com.
I hope I didn't trigger anybody.
No, it came in before the program, so there we go. All right, we're going to talk equal rights. All right.
Already.
In this maze of confusion, this is in order. Oh, what a tangled web we weave once we start to deceive. I think that's how that saying goes. But you know, most of the time, simplicity is the answer. Blacks have equal rights as every citizen does in the U.S. Green, yellow, white, etc. as well. Isn't that in the Constitution? And injustice and prejudice has been committed against again by racist policemen. Bring them to justice, and let's move on to be better. As I said, simplicity. Blacks have equal rights, and they can't realize that this was an isolated incident. This nonsense, the protest, is only dividing a country which at this time needs unity, not division. But it's just been a spark, and they're just going, well, we've had the brutality against us for decades, so that's why they're up in arms at the moment.
I've learned recently to somewhat disagree with that, and one of the reasons I say that is I saw a post which is getting shared, I hope nationally, and it speaks of a appliance repairman who runs his own business down in Myrtle Beach.
I saw that.
Fascinating story. And I checked it to verify that, in fact, it's not just made up. It's true.
Oh, good.
It's true. They are doing news stories about the man. As a matter of fact, the person on Facebook with a similarly named company for appliance repair posted on his page that he wants to recognize this guy, but please, you're on the wrong page if you're talking to me because I'm not him.
All right.
But basically, it's a self-employed African-American appliance repairman who worked for a couple of companies, and went to work for Sears doing appliance repair, and just decided to go out on his own. And a woman customer, when he came to the house,
she's white.
She's white.
That's important.
And so she asked him about his experience, and I guess he misinterpreted what she was talking about.
Yeah.
And so she had to clear it up that she was talking about your day-to-day life. Do you experience the things that people are complaining about? And he very calmly and clearly described a life where, yes, he said at least 6 times a month, I think he said. It was a month or a year? I think
it's a year.
It was a year. Maybe 6 times. He said at least 6 times a year he is stopped by a policeman for no particular reason.
In his van that's owned by the company.
Van with the company name on it, in his uniform.
Yeah.
And will be
questioned
about why does he have money and checks on his clipboard? Where's he going?
Right.
What's he doing around here? And he describes all of the different things that are asked of him, even though there's no traffic violation.
Right.
He is stopped because he is in a particular place, and there appears to be absolutely no rationale behind it other than he seems out of place because he's African American in a place where you're not expected to see them, and the police simply stop him. Now, that's the bad side of it, because what it tells me is that there's a universality to this problem of police officers stereotyping, or that's my phone, of stereotyping, and acting in a way that can only be considered improper and racist to a certain extent, but not violently racist, but insensitively racist. And making assumptions where none should be made. And so the fortunate thing is after she posted this, the local news station got a hold of it and decided to do a story. And it's working its way up to becoming a national discussion about this man. And, of course, he says now business is going through the roof.
He's going to hire more people.
So I'm sure some idiot out there is going to accuse him of doing it for marketing strategy. But the fact is, it's the kind of... And he said he doesn't make a big deal about it. He doesn't complain about it. He simply adapts his lifestyle around expectations that this will happen, which is tragic.
I was going to say, should he?
But if it happens to him and he's not saying anything, then it's happening to thousands and thousands and thousands of other African Americans regularly in places that where people think they're doing the right thing, but they're not sensitive enough to what the effect is of what they're doing. And that's where I go back to this Camden issue and the familiarity with people and the interaction with people in society between the police and residents, and learning about them and learning about how they can better serve their needs. It's awkward. It's awkward to talk about. But you have to come to grips with the reality of it for the average guy that's just trying to get through his life. And if he says he has a problem, then there are thousands more that have problems. They're not all dying. They're not all having a knee put on their neck.
Right.
They're just being strangled every day a little bit because they have to look over their shoulder. They have to respond differently when someone. I mean, don't get me wrong. If a policeman pulls me over, I don't think, why is he bothering me? I think, oh, he cut me.
Yeah. Well, I guess I was going too fast.
And the only words that come out of my mouth are three: yes, sir, or no, sir.
No, sir.
That's how I react. But that's me, because I don't have to live the life of 6 times a year being stopped for no reason whatsoever. When I'm pulled over,
there's a reason for it.
I already know what I did.
All right.
So it's tragic, but it's becoming more visible, and it should be made more visible, because the only way you're going to fix a problem is when you can see the problem clearly and get better information about all the nuances associated with it.
All right, Natalie, let's see if we get your opinion on something.
Uh-oh.
What do you think about the whole let's defund the police?
Ooh, that's a complicated one.
I know it is. That's why I asked you.
Melissa didn't fill you in on those kind of questions, did she?
She gave me a little preview, but
Look out for that guy. But have you been following it at all?
yeah, I've been following it some. I'll be honest, my husband is more into the sort of what's happening. But because of that, I usually get a nice taste of that too.
From him? Okay.
From him, we do watch the news. We have been keeping up. There's so much going on right now. It's important to, try to stay in the loop. I think there's reasons on both sides. I could see. I do think sort of the defund word seems to be a little of a misnomer. As sort of John was talking about, it's not really about taking money away, but maybe restructuring. So, I mean, I think it's difficult, but I definitely would say that, I think perhaps addressing I think in general the police are an important institution. There is a uniformity, there is a system in place that comes with, I think, safety. And I think it's important to maybe, rather than just abolishing it completely, maybe just looking at trying to look at some of the issues and trying to address those. I don't really want to, citizens arrest, is what I, start to think of. And I'm like, maybe that's not what's being proposed, but I start to be like, who is coming to answer my call for safety?
Yes.
There are some concerns, but it definitely is a complicated issue.
The owner of Allie's Donuts will be coming.
We'll get to Allie's in a minute or two. I want to ask Tim this question because, we heard yesterday that the DOH went into some business up here, and according to them, the DOH, the business was not complying with what they should be complying with, and hit them with a $100 fine. Now, can the department, and maybe John, maybe can the Department of Health issue fines? And
I guess
Tim,
yes, they can.
They can.
By the executive orders allow for it. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't aware.
That's
of that.
why I think they're going to give the governor a ticket.
Yeah,
they should.
Sure they are. But now, would you, Tim, with Navigate Credit Union, would the branches know if they're coming, or is it a surprise?
No, it's a surprise. We've actually been visited.
Have
One
you?
of our branches, and I can't remember which one it was visited early on, like the second day we were allowed to have more than a by appointment only set up. And they came in and they asked for, let's see your plan. You're supposed to have the plan from the Department of Health, all the check sheet that you've done these, you've got the cleaning procedures in place, and you've got your social distancing standards. You've got all your signage because the Department of Health has provided us with 9 different signs to paste on the doors. So when you go to our doors, it looks like
who's going to read it all?
Flyer thing. Well, you'd be surprised.
Really? People stop and read them all?
I had a sign that had it says you can't have more than 6 people in the lobby.
Yeah.
Well, we changed it to 15, and I must have missed that branch, and so I didn't have that sign. Somebody called me up and said, "Hey, the sign's wrong."
Okay.
So I went, okay,
All right.
reprinted the sign, put it back up. But they went in and they checked everything. They actually said we had done a pretty good job because we knew that this was a possibility. So every branch has the plan, every branch has the signage, every branch has everything they need to have. But individually, they have to have it. It's not like it's at corporate.
Right.
You know, you got to have it in each branch. So we didn't get penalized for anything. I think John's right. I think that the executive order actually gives the Department of Health the power to do that. But what's interesting is it's not just DOH people going out and doing it. I think they're taking people from state government, the Department of Environmental Management. I think they're taking whoever's free.
Who's not doing anything
Whoever's
right
not
now?
doing anything right now, to go out and literally go into businesses
With your checklist.
With the checklist, and make sure that if your business is open, you're complying with the rules. And that just seems to me to be crazy, but that's, in fact, I think what's happening.
John, that sounds like fascism to me. That the state is a fascist state now, and you will comply.
It is a delicate balance against our freedoms that they can impose these things. It has characteristics of a totalitarian state.
Yes.
But there's a declared emergency, and there are powers within our Constitution that allow things to happen under declared emergencies. This one doesn't happen to be an invasion, and it doesn't happen to be a natural disaster like will be coming later in the year with the hurricanes. This one is different.
Right.
Adapting to it. Actually, I think if you look at the Constitution closely, what they're doing is not really specifically mentioned, but they're doing it anyway under a liberal interpretation. And they're taking liberties with the extent of their power. The question is it an effective method for solving a problem? Because with all of the concentration of cases being in nursing homes and congregate care facilities, as it were, I still go back to the day where I came into an appearance here and said, why aren't they talking about the nursing homes yet? It was like the nursing homes were the last places they started checking out, and yet it was the place where the biggest problem was because of the impact on the elderly. And the question now is, why aren't they focusing more extensively on two things, which I think the governor just talked about recently doing. Test everybody, because the testing is available now. Just test everybody. And test everybody regularly. And then secondly, keep that focus on the nursing homes and the congregate care facilities, and test the employees and test the residents, and get as much done to solve the problem as you can.
Do you see that, Natalie? Do you see DOH at the villa?
We've had the National Guards coming, I think, weekly to do
good.
testing. So they've, I believe it started a couple weeks ago, but they're going through on a regular basis and trying to expand all the testing.
Yeah, but I think walking into a place like Navigant and sort of threatening with penalties for something that they don't really have significant control over. I mean, people sometimes will walk into these arenas and not care about the rules, and you're gonna,
Aren't we? I mean, for the past 3 months, we have been sort of indoctrinated quickly into the mindset of social distancing and wearing masks, right? I mean, that seems to be that's been the marching orders all along. So as we come out of these closures, I find that most people are making an attempt anyway to be socially distant. Even Lowe's, I'm seeing most people with masks on now.
Yeah,
when early on they didn't do it, but now I think almost everybody that walks in has it. And if they're far enough away, if there's nobody around me, I'm taking my mask off.
Yeah.
I mean, we're pretty socially distant here right now. So I don't understand why I would need to wear a mask in public if I wasn't close to somebody.
I don't, unless I'm entering a store that requires that just you, but I'm going to be bumping into people I don't know.
That's right.
Or being in close proximity to. But the minute I come out of the store, the mask is off. It goes back in the car, and it waits for the next time I'm going in somewhere.
It's not just it's for somebody else's protection. I don't want if I'm sick, I don't want to get somebody else sick. That's not. I don't want that on my head.
I do have an N95 in my house, though.
I've got one too, but I use it on my tractor when I cut the lawn because the pollen is awful.
My son is a corpsman in the Navy, and so he sent us a supply of the super masks.
Super masks.
It's like, yeah, okay. But I think the disturbing thing, and it's interesting, I've encountered now two business people for legitimate reasons, and that were at my house. And ever since last Friday with the governor, the cynicism is just rampant.
Unbelievable.
There, they came to my house without a mask on.
Oh my gosh.
It was like,
I'm not so sure.
and
she
I
realizes
sort
the
of made a
damage she did to
sarcastic
her
remark
own.
about it, and they looked at me and they just sort of shook their head, and that's exactly why they simply didn't bother.
Okay. We have to take a break.
They've lost credit. She's lost all of her credibility.
Okay. Time for a look at the forecast right now, which is being brought to you by DuckDuckGo Privacy. Today will be partly sunny and a high near 80 degrees. Tonight, mostly cloudy and a low temperature around 65. Thursday, cloudy with a chance of showers and thunderstorms in the mid-afternoon. High will be near 75 tomorrow. Tomorrow night, mostly cloudy with a chance of showers and thunderstorms and a low of 63. Friday, mostly sunny, high near 83. Saturday, mostly sunny and a high near 79. And currently outside the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio on the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street, we have 74 degrees. Want the same internet but more privacy? DuckDuckGo's got you covered. They help millions of people like you get privacy online without any trade-offs. DuckDuckGo, privacy simplified.
I'm here with Kara Benjamin of the Benjamin Insurance Agency. Kara, what's the best part of your job?
The best part of my job is providing security to families and help protect what's important to them. My specialty is picking apart policy details so customers understand their coverages and options. It can be very overwhelming, and I am here to help with that.
You're in good hands with Allstate and Kara and Celeste Benjamin of the Benjamin Insurance Agency, 125 Eddie Dowling Highway, across from Dowling Village in North Smithfield, 765-5000.
Our business is truly a referral business, and we have built it based on our premier service level and commitment to what we do. If you are looking for personalized service with people who care, that would be us.
Hi, I'm Greg Bell, the host of When Radio Was.
Hi, Mortimer. Bill. Is that you under that blindfold? Bill, with this thing on, I can't see who I am. No, I imagine not. Can't you see anything at all under that blindfold? On a clear day, I can see the blindfold. You can? Yeah.
When Radio Was, shows from the past for today's imaginations.
When Radio Was airs Monday through Friday, right here on ON 1240 Radio at 11 a.m. and 11 p.m.
Just a reminder from your friends at ON Radio. ON cares.
And it is Coffee In on ON AM and FM with Joe Callahan here with Natalie Mack, John Ward, and Tim Draper. And Tim, time for our first message from Navigant Credit Union.
Thank you, Joe. I'm happy to say that as of June 8th, we are getting closer to restoring all of our operations to full operations mode with the addition of 3 more locations, opening up our lobbies to non-appointment traffic, which is great. I'm going to really quickly run down our list here of everything that is open to 15 members of the public at a time, because that's the rule. Coventry Crossings, Cumberland Hill, Greenville, Lincoln, Manville, Pawtucket, Rumford, Smithfield, Wakefield, Warren, Warwick Plaza, and our favorite place here in Woonsocket, the 1280 Park Avenue. All the branches do have a maximum capacity for members of 15. And we are practicing social distancing, and we require masks. We'll probably require you to take them off at one point so that we can identify you while you're coming into the branch and making the transaction, but we'll ask you to put it back on. All of our MSR stations and teller stations, unfortunately, now have those plastic shields. Fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you look at it. I always feel like it takes away the personal touch when you put a barrier between you and the person you're talking to. But the reality is you have to have it. So we're protecting everybody, our staff. We're protecting our members by putting those shields there, so please don't be offended. Again, we're asking you to bring in your ID, because in these days when you walk into a bank with a mask on and ask for money, we probably want to make sure that it's really the right person asking for the money. So we do have hand sanitizers available for everybody. So isn't that crazy, right?
Yes.
So we do have hand sanitizers for everybody. We ask you to use the hand sanitizers on your way in. And if you feel like using them on the way out, please feel free to do so. But we are open for business, folks. We haven't really ever closed. If you need anything, you can always call us at 233-4700 or www.navigantcu.org.
So if I go in and ask for Tim Draper's money, they won't give it to me?
Well, they'll ask you for your ID.
No, Tim said I could have it.
Yeah, Tim said no.
No.
I'm telling the general public right now, no.
All right, fine. By the way, I was in a local place last week. Went to Piet Jewelers, and wasn't the DOH in there checking out what they were doing? And because one of them pointed out to me, because I said, "What's going on over here?" Oh, it's the Department of Health. And I said, and I was trying to be funny. So I wish I had a bag of M&Ms. I would have poured them out on the floor. I thought they were looking for cleanliness, kind of thing. But they didn't. They just kind of shook their head because this is these DOH people are, they're like fascists. They're like Nazis. They're taking this way too seriously.
Yeah.
No, that's why I didn't recognize who it was. It's just they got a clipboard and they're going through things.
They have a name tag on there.
I didn't look that close. No, I wasn't sure.
They have some
Everything
sort of
looked
state
okay
ID.
in there. Everyone was wearing masks, including me.
If each of these businesses were simply to host a protest, maybe against capitalism or something, then they could have thousands of people inside their building.
10,000 people without masks.
I saw a joke on that.
No, the original protest. Let's not mischaracterize this.
True.
The original protest, a lot of people were wearing masks. Many weren't, but a lot of people were. It was actually the closer to 9 o'clock group, because it was by the time the governor showed up, there was only about 1,000 people left.
Yeah.
But at that point, most of the people were not wearing masks, including. I make fun of the governor, and I was harsh. I was very harsh on the governor over the weekend because I was so angry about this. But it went beyond just the governor. Her husband was there without a mask.
It was everybody on the steps.
Her entire entourage
didn't have masks.
State police, National Guard,
None
Capitol
of
Police,
them.
none of them had masks.
Yeah.
And very few people in the crowd they went into had masks. And
I noticed she didn't quarantine herself either.
No, she's not going to.
Because she
Testing
apologized.
She got a test, right?
She said okay. She said she's been tested a couple of times. So I don't know if she goes once a week or every 2 weeks to be
Maybe
tested.
they're doing
I
the
don't
wrong
know.
test.
What should they be testing for, John?
Never mind.
All right.
We'll leave that alone.
The other joke I saw online, by the way, is because we can't have music concerts and things like that.
This is actually a class in sarcasm.
If you haven't
I'm taking notes.
The thing I saw online, we can't have music concerts, but if we change the name and we call it a music protest, hundreds of people can show up and everything's fine. We just happen to have music, and we're just going to sell burgers and sell beer. So,
is Arlo Guthrie still around? We can bring
Arlo Guthrie.
Woody Guthrie actually would make more sense.
Kind of old, but I don't know.
No, Woody's gone, I'm sure.
All right. So, speaking of Allie's Donuts, they were. I don't know if they closed early last night or they sent out a tweet. They were understaffed because now the staff people that work there are afraid to go.
Yeah.
You know about Allie's Donuts?
I do not.
Natalie? Oh.
Down near you, actually.
Yes, they're in North Kingstown, which is
Okay.
pretty close to Warwick. And the owner came out and said, we're not going to give a discount to the police or the military.
Which is in South County, which isn't actually a county in Rhode Island.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
But you'll get used to that. It's part of Washington. Kent County or Washington County?
Washington County.
Washington County.
Washington County.
Yeah.
But they call it South County. We don't know why.
Allie's is one of those old staples in Rhode Island. They make these fresh donuts every day. It's like the original Krispy Kreme in Rhode Island. They're delicious donuts.
No, they're not. They're just donuts.
They're good. They're very good.
I've had them. They're not that
They're
good.
cakey. They're delicious.
They're too cakey.
I've never had one.
They're way too cakey.
We could have a debate on this, but we won't.
Anyway, they're not giving a discount to the police or the military anymore. They were, but now they're not because of what's going on. And so they got a lot of backlash.
Well, it was a very
harsh
specific statement about
it was
and it blanket indicted all of the military and all of the police for being awful people, and
we're not going to stand for it anymore.
It went way too far.
So they got a lot of backlash on it, although a lot of people showed up on Sunday to buy. Yeah. But now they're getting death threats. I don't know if it's to the people that work there or just to the establishment itself.
Channel 10 contacted the police, and they said they've received no reports from employees about being threatened.
Yeah, it's the guy saying he has.
The cynics out there, we know who we are saying, I wonder if he's lost some employees who have quit and gone somewhere else. And he's using this as an excuse.
Maybe.
Because he was alone making the donuts yesterday.
Yeah.
He was Fred. Who remembers Fred?
Yes,
from
Fred. Time to make the donuts.
Yeah. You're too young, Natalie.
Poor Natalie going, who are these people?
There's no Dunkin' Donuts in
That's
Seattle.
back when Dunkin' Donuts' primary business was actually donuts.
Yeah, that's right.
But now they're Dunkin'. Even though they don't make a Dunkin' Donut anymore.
They want them to switch it to just be coffee. But anyway.
I've heard that.
Yeah. That's what I read last night. The death threats from, but I don't know. But police just said they never received any.
State police and local police said nope.
Wow. Okay.
So we'll see.
Interesting.
It'll play itself out.
We saw. So it came up on Saturday. We're sitting out on the deck in with some friends, and the thing came up on Saturday night, and there's a thread, and we read it and went, "Oh man, somebody must have hacked Ali's Donuts Facebook."
Oh, did you think that? Oh, okay.
Nobody'd be that stupid to put that up, right?
No, man.
And then nope. Then he started to answer all the comments.
Yes.
He was answering every one of them with,
more fervor.
Take the shovel away from the kid because he's digging another.
He was digging a hole, and he just kept digging.
Couldn't get out of it.
So I think that temporarily this may, this is great. He's making a political statement. That's fine. Politics and business never mix well.
Right.
So he's making this statement. Okay, it's his business. He can do whatever you want to do with it. But now that he's done it, he'll have the people who support him show up and buy donuts.
And they did on Sunday.
But I think that's a very short-lived, temporary effect.
Okay.
But what's going to be long-term is all the customers he just ticked off and said, we're not going back there anymore.
Yeah.
He lives next to Quonset. There's a military base right down the road.
Yeah.
The loyal customers he'll lose. The one-time people who will forget that they went there.
Yeah.
And if he's not willing to put up the signs they want and go online every day and spread the word, they'll lose interest in him. He's just a sideshow.
Yeah, it was a bad,
it's a tragic loss,
miscalculated move. Yep, for no reason at all. Well, I mean, there's a reason in his mind.
Other than to generate name.
I think he was trying to generate publicity under the old adage that all publicity is good publicity. That is not true.
Okay.
Some publicity is bad publicity.
Like this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. In politics, it's say whatever you want in the article. Just make sure you spell my name right in the headline.
Yeah.
They spelled fascist right, didn't they?
Because I mean, no. The fact is, I think Tom said it. They do studies on newspaper readers, and they never. The vast majority of people never get past the fourth or fifth paragraph.
That's right.
They don't read the whole article. They read the headline. If it's interesting to them, they go through 4 or 5 paragraphs.
That's enough.
If they lose interest, they stop.
Yeah.
If it's truly interesting, they'll read the whole thing. But most articles are not truly interesting, and oftentimes it's because it's a point about a good journalist writing a story that is simply factual. And many times people will see headlines which are supposed to get your attention, so they tend to have a slight slant to them, like
like
headline in today's paper, which is so far from the reality of the less caustic statement they're making. But that they tend to want to pull you into the article, and then you get into the article, and it's like, this isn't what the headline said, and they stop. And then, unless they're writing articles for some of the other publications that have a bias, in which case they just get to read drink the Kool-Aid.
Tim, let me ask you this, because I brought it up on Monday, and I made a general statement about Ali's Donuts, saying, because we're up here in northern Rhode Island, and it's at least a 20-minute drive to get there.
Yeah.
I said, no one up here is driving 20 minutes to get Ali's Donuts just because the donuts are that good. However, have you done that? On a Saturday or Sunday morning, you know what? I'm taking a drive to Ali's to get donuts.
Yeah. Actually, not for the sake of getting a donut, but for buying a donut cake for a party or something like that, because we have a lot of people who love Ali's donut cakes, and so we would go
I didn't know they made
and
those.
make the trip to Ali's to buy. We order the cake and then get on and get it. We won't be doing that anymore. We'll go right to the ice cream machine where we should have gone in the first place. But I think that most people. I mean, a donut's not a real healthy thing to eat, right? Well, it's a treat for most people. You probably shouldn't do it every day. But I just, the people who he has alienated through this whole thing, I think they're going to, it's going to be such an impact long term. And for him, I'm not sure that business can survive.
Does it put him out of business?
I'm not sure what the overhead is in donuts, but I got to think that if he wants to make them alone, probably could survive for a while, but.
I just wonder if the people from this area, the Blackstone Valley, who only stopped at Ali's Donuts because they went down to the beach. You have to pass it on the way to the beach from this area, and say, okay, we'll grab a dozen. Well, maybe on the way back. And they'll just say, all right, forget that. We won't be doing that anymore.
The Little General in North Smithfield, though, does make a trip down every day to pick up a supply of donuts, and they sell them right up here.
And there's another place in North Providence that does it, right outside of North Providence.
There are some northern areas that sell the donuts. I wonder how I wonder, the question should best be put to the owner of that store to see whether or not they've been affected by this.
Do they promote that these are Allie's Donuts in their store?
Oh, yeah. They literally send somebody down there every day to pick up an order.
Interesting.
They bring it back, they put it out for display and sell them.
Okay.
Every morning.
Tim, it's time for a second message from Allie's Donuts.
Well, Joe, again, we're
You missed that.
He just jumped right in. Jumped right in.
Get your button ready over there.
Navigant
Get the
Credit Union.
cough button ready, as I'm going to get going here. No, just want to let everybody know that again, business as usual at Navigant Credit Union, and this is a time the weather's great, the leaves are popping, and everything looks great. You may want to make some changes to your house. You may want to buy a new house. You may want to move. It may be time to upgrade. Now is as good a time as any in history to borrow money for those projects that you need to borrow. So Navigant Credit Union has a loan that will fit your needs. Obviously, we don't want you to overextend yourself, but if you're interested in making some changes, come see us at Navigant Credit Union. Give us a call, 233-4700. Ask for one of our mortgage originators, or stop into a branch if it's just a home equity loan that you're looking to use some of the equity that you've built up in your house to put an addition on, or pool in, or whatever that might be. We're here. We've been here for 105 years, and we're not going anywhere. So please come and visit us. Amanda up at the Park Square branch and her team are great. Joe, the assistant branch manager, has been reassigned to the assistant branch manager down in the new Warwick branch on Post Road. Which is great if you have a chance. If you're down in Warwick and you want to go see the branch on Post Road, it just opened up, and it's a beautiful location. So we've got branches north to south in the state now, and so you can come and visit us anywhere.
All right, Tim, thanks. And the Coffee and program will continue here on ON Radio.
Outdoor dining is now being offered at River Falls Restaurant. Come and enjoy your meal with the Blackstone River in the background. You need to make a reservation in order to eat outside at River Falls, so call 401-235-9026 for reservations. And your party needs to be 5 people or less. River Falls Restaurant is ready to provide you with their great burgers, combo meals, seafood, pasta, chicken, veal, and prime rib. Come and enjoy your meal outside at River Falls Restaurant, Market Square, Woonsocket. Call for reservations today, 401-235-9026, 235-9026, River Falls Restaurant.
Is your business struggling to be found on Google? Are you still trying to figure out how Facebook works? Are you wasting your money on social media? Do you just need more customers? If you do, then contact the local digital marketing team at Breeze Digital Media in Lincoln. Breeze Digital Media has programs that are approved by Google and Facebook and are designed to grow your business. Packages start at only $199 a month and include easy monthly reporting so you know where your investment is going. Contact Breeze Digital Media for a free marketing analysis of your business today. Call 401-334-9555, extension 154, anytime, or visit breezedigitalmedia.com/offer.
Hey, this is Dave Koz, and this weekend on the Dave Koz Radio Show, we welcome back bassist Julian Vaughn to the program. He's got some hot new music to share, and I know you'll want to be here for that. Check out DaveKoz.com during the week and be here this weekend for Julian Vaughn and more wonderful music for your weekend on the Dave Koz Radio Show.
Hello, fans of smooth jazz. The Dave Koz Radio Show can only be heard on ON, AM, and FM, 1240 AM, 99.5 FM, every Sunday, twice on Sundays, 6 a.m. to 8 a.m., and again 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. The Dave Koz Radio Show is brought to you by the Carew Investment Group. It's the Dave Koz Radio Show, and it's right here on
ON, AM, and FM.
And it's Coffee In on ON, AM, and FM. This is Joe Callahan, along with Tim Draper, John Ward, and Natalie Mack. So, vandalism in Boston last night. Did you hear?
No.
Someone decapitated the Christopher Columbus statue in Boston.
What?
Yes. Now they remember they meaning I don't know who they is, but the Christopher Columbus statue in Providence was graffiti.
Painted graffiti. Yes.
And that was last October?
Always
every
year on
Columbus Day. Yeah.
Given enough time, you will always find an opportunity to hate those people that you loved before.
Yep.
So I'm thinking.
Yes, that doesn't mean anything. It's just that's what seems to be happening.
But I'm thinking the people that did the graffiti in Providence are now going to see what happened in Boston and say, "Hey, we should do that too." Although it's difficult to decapitate concrete, but
I don't know. I've got a sledgehammer in my garage. You could
be
decapitate
perfect.
any statue
Oh,
in
well,
no
all right
time.
then.
But you got to get up that high.
I
don't know how they did it in
I
Boston.
wouldn't do it, but there are some strange people out there who have way too much time on their hands.
That'll try to figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because Columbus is evil. Don't forget.
I know he is. Just ask them.
Just like Thomas Jefferson was evil.
And George Washington.
And John Adams and George Washington.
Oh, okay. Did you hear about this, Natalie, about the Christopher Columbus?
I have not.
No, okay.
There's a judge stopping them from tearing down the statue of Robert E. Lee.
Oh, that's right.
And they're talking about changing the name of Leesburg and other communities in Virginia that are named after Confederate heroes.
Another interesting
Confederate soldiers.
conversation. Is there any further credence given to the idea that we should change the name of the state?
That's coming up again. Yes, it's resurrected.
I wonder if it's going to actually go through this time.
Natalie, what's the name of the state? The entire name, do you know?
It's the something. It's not just Rhode Island.
Right.
It's like the
state of Rhode Island and
the plan. What is it?
You're so close.
Is it the plantations of Rhode Island?
You're so close.
What is it?
Providence Plantations. State of Rhode Island, Providence Plantations.
It came from the fact that Rhode Island was basically Aquidneck Island.
Yeah.
And that was considered the state of Rhode Island. And when they put it all together, there was the state of Rhode Island out on the island, and then the mainland, which is where Providence was. And basically, it was a very agricultural, agrarian society.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you had the state of Rhode Island and Providence Plantations.
Well, plantation can only mean one thing, right?
Yes.
They weren't plantations in the classical sense of plantations. In the way that you think of plantations, where the slave owners and all of that junk. It was just a common use for agricultural environments. Plantations. It's where you plant things.
Yeah.
Used to be one of those things where I go, no, you can't change the name, but I don't know. Now I think just get rid of it. Just get rid of it. You don't need it.
Well, no one uses it.
Nobody uses it. It's on the State House. Leave it there. But
sometimes you just don't want to give the ultra liberals a cause.
I know.
So take away their
That's
weapon.
right. That's right. And it's such a.
It's not surrendering. It's outmaneuvering.
It does mean that you have to then change
the
stationery
seal?
And seals. I mean, there's a lot of cost, I guess, involved in doing it. But it's certainly probably worth the cost.
No, you just make it so that they only change it as their supply runs out, and change the plaques and do all of those things.
Do you change the State House?
It's a worthwhile investment to outflank the super liberals who ascribe things to the name that aren't real.
I forgot which state has already done it, and they did it this past week. They changed Columbus Day to Indigenous Person Day.
Well, Brown University did it years ago.
Yeah, but this is the entire state, and I forget which one it was.
There's several states that have done that.
Yeah.
Oh, really? I thought this was the first.
I'm not sure you're going to get it.
There's several states that have done it.
The Italian population in Rhode Island is pretty adamant about keeping it Columbus Day. So
yeah.
Okay.
I'm waiting for them to change the name of Columbus, Ohio.
To Indigenous Person, Ohio?
Well, the name of to change the name of the state of Washington.
Well,
or change the name of the.
Well, Natalie's from out that way. Is there any groundswell to change the name of the state?
I haven't heard that, but I'm sure there are people discussing it.
Interesting. Yeah. All right. Now, back this way, in our state, Columbus Day is a big deal, and we get the day off. It's a holiday here. But out west, it doesn't seem to be as important as it is back here. Did you notice that? Is it a holiday in Washington?
I believe it's a holiday.
It is. Okay.
I think it is. To be honest, thinking back that far when I lived in Washington, I think we got those holidays off.
Okay. Yeah. I just thought it was.
Many states it's not.
It's being taken away.
Yeah.
Or it may have been an optional. Some people would follow and some wouldn't.
Could be.
Optional holiday. Okay.
We have those around.
Well, some there's like the federal or the state.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what's that one about?
Yeah, no,
tell me about
We're the only ones in the country that celebrate the fact
I'd never
that
heard of it.
Japan in World War II. That's basically what it is, Victory over Japan Day.
VJ Day.
Oh, we changed it. It's Victory Day.
I always laugh because
Video Jockey Day.
The first time
MTV Day.
The first time they ever named a Governor's Bay Day, they coincided it with Victory Day.
Yeah.
And so I sarcastically, because it's my nature, I said, "Oh, gee, we're going to celebrate Victory over the Bay Day." But then they moved it and they separated the two. So it's lost all of its
call it Gatsby
humor.
And now they call it Gatsby Day.
Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no. Don't worry. We're going to ban Gatsby Days because you will see, if you read the articles coming out now, the people who burned Gatsby were actually the rich people who were getting their wealth from the slave trade, and they weren't rejecting the British monarchy. They were rejecting the British attempt to control and tax the revenues generated through the slave trade, and these were people involved in the slave trade. So their intention was far less than honorable, because they were protecting the slave trade by rebelling against the British, and
It always comes down to money.
That's hardly considered. That's exactly it. It was
money.
It was, our revolution wasn't premised on freedom.
It was economics.
Freedom from them taking our money.
Okay.
And it was done by all the rich guys. It wasn't done by the downtrodden poor who were under the boot of the British monarchy. Yeah. It was done by the rich guys who didn't want Britain taking their money from them. Yeah. So
the business
our
people.
whole motivation for our existence is flawed. And people are pointing it out today, especially with Gatsby Day issue, because
Nana's getting a whole new history lesson
reasons.
today.
This is great.
Well, we're fundamentally an evil nation, as Betty will tell you.
We had the story yesterday.
They forget that we're actually moving towards what we want to be. Never, we're getting better. We're not getting worse.
We had the story yesterday. It's raised its head again in Boston. They want to rename Faneuil Hall.
Yeah.
Faneuil Hall in Boston. Have you been there?
Yes, I have.
Okay, it's named after an actual person, Stephen Faneuil. Anyway, he was a slave trader.
Of course.
And he gave that building to the city of Boston because I guess he was making so much money.
Look at Brown University.
Look at Brown University, he's right.
But they apologized.
For what they did in the 1600s?
They apologized. No, they apologized in the 1990s for the fact that the Brown family was associated and involved in the slave trade.
Okay.
So because they apologized, you can't criticize them anymore. They won't change the name, but you can't criticize them anymore because they apologize. As long as they apologize, everything's okay.
You can't change the name of Brown University.
Why not?
It's too old. It's like changing Harvard and Yale and like that. But Faneuil Hall, you watch, that name will change.
You think so?
Within like 5 years.
Oh, I guess
didn't Brown University start out as Rhode Island College?
It might have.
Look at that. Look at interesting. Now he's going to go look it up.
Because it was the only.
It may have, yeah. And then Brown.
Google it. And then it was named after the Brown family.
Then we want to be,
John Brown gave a ton of money, and then all of a sudden we're going to change the university. Interesting.
Whatever.
But watch, Faneuil Hall, that'll change within a couple of years.
In light of that, because I know we're down to the last couple of minutes, before you throw our miscellaneous news from around the world at us, I just want to point out for all of those who think that this is cynical, it's not. Because of this eruption that's occurred in the last couple of weeks, Councilman Knoyer actually drafted this up, and basically it's not cynical, it's real, because he likes to confront people who claim we are bad people.
Okay.
So it's a resolution that will be on the next agenda, establishing a City Council Advisory Board to review ordinances, policies, procedures, and practices to identify, if any, those that employ or support racism or bias. And what it does is it's intended to establish a group to review with the various departments in city government the ordinances and the regulations that are in place to find out, because as our councilman points out to us, who is running as a Woonsocket Democrat, that we are fundamentally racist and biased and we don't take care of the neediest in our community. So he wants to establish this group that will be allowed to insert themselves into the local government and look at all the policies and procedures and ordinance and start identifying those things that may have some sort of inherent bias in them. It's a real question, and it's a valid question. Unfortunately, I think because of the person who brought it up, Jim Knoyer, it will be treated as a cynical attempt to mock
put down or mock
those people who are fighting for the cause,
the good fight,
as it were. But it's not, and it's got.
So where do you start? I mean, if that's the view that somebody's going to have, that it's a cynical attempt.
I'm fearful that it will have that. That it will be portrayed that way.
You could be right, but it's like, okay, then what do you want? How do we know if there's a problem?
And
if we don't
see, that's the challenge. We had this 15 or 20 people that wrote these emails, and again, I told somebody, the things you're looking to do actually are best done through our community development block grant program, so you should contact the planning director. I gave the planning director's email address and said, it's there where our funding scheme works around all of the community development issues and social service issues that you would want to address. That's where you need to do it. And Jim Knoyer wrote back saying, would you please tell us where all of these specific examples of perpetuating the oppression of residents is within our police department. I mean, you know, the accusations are easy. They're blanket, they're broad, they don't specify anything identifiable that you're doing wrong. It's just, you're wrong. Why? Because you're wrong.
Well,
okay, tell us why we're wrong. And that's what this resolution hopes to do, is to identify those things that we're doing wrong so we can correct them.
All right, well, we've run out of time, so the show has come to an end. Thank you very much for listening in.
You guys can talk next week.
Okay.